Hey everyone, today we've got a lot to break down for you because the weather is about to get really active as we head into early next week. We're talking about a full-blown severe weather outbreak on the horizon. So that means tornadoes, damaging winds, and some very large hail are all on the table. It's going to be a busy few days ahead, and I want to make sure you're fully prepared for everything that's coming. So if you haven't already, take a second to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with as many people as you can. This is some very important information, and the more people we can reach, the better. Starting things off as we look ahead to Monday, April 28th, there's already a fairly significant risk highlighted. The Storm Prediction Center has issued a 3 out of 5 risk in the orange shading and a 2 out of 5 in the yellow. And when you see a 3 this far out, that's a big deal. That's already showing some pretty strong confidence in severe storms stretching from parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan all the way southward into Oklahoma and the northwest corner of Texas. That's a massive area under the gun for the possibility of tornadoes, large hail, and very damaging winds as we head into Monday. That's not all. As we turn the page into Tuesday, the system is going to keep on trucking southeastward with that cold front pushing farther out. That's going to bring the severe weather risk eastward into places like New York State, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, and stretching all the way back down into Oklahoma, North Texas, and even parts of Arkansas. We'll definitely be tracking this evolving setup very closely for you over the next few days. Now, before we even get there, let's talk about the short term because we've got plenty of action already starting to brew. Taking a look at the high temperatures expected today, Friday, April 25th. The heat continues to build across the Gulf Coast states and into Florida, where it's been just brutally dry and hot lately. There's like mid to upper 80s, even some low 90s expected again this afternoon, especially along the west coast of Florida. Meanwhile, if you head northward into the Midwest, it's noticeably cooler, highs only in the 50s and 60s across many spots. Into the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, 70s will be pretty common. So back to places like Wyoming and into the Nebraska Panhandle, it's downright chilly for late April standards, only in the 40s for high temperatures today. As we move into the weekend, we're going to start seeing that warmth slowly build northward. Across the South, temperatures stay hot, no surprise there, but into the Midwest, a little bit of a warm up is on the way. E60s for a lot of areas as we go into Saturday and Sunday. And speaking of Sunday, the warmth really takes off across the plains. Places like Rapid City, which are chilly today, will be flirting with highs in the 80s by Sunday afternoon. That's a pretty remarkable turnaround in just a couple of days. Down along the Gulf Coast and across Florida, the 80s and 90s will continue, and there's even a shot at seeing some record highs, especially from Mobile down through Orlando as we finish off the weekend. With all of that heat building and moisture returning, thunderstorms are definitely in play in the short term. Today, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a level 2 out of 5 risk across parts of Texas, mainly across the Panhandle, with a level 1 out of 5 surrounding that in the dark green shading. If we zoom into some of those specific cities under the threat today, it's areas like Amarillo, southward through Leech, Midland, stretching eastward into the Oklahoma City metro area, and places like Lawton, Fort Sill, Wichita Falls, and even brushing up against the northwest side of the DFW Metroplex. The biggest hazards today are going to be those monster hailstones. See, we're following along yesterday. We already had reports of DVD-sized, softball-sized hail. And unfortunately, that trend could repeat itself today with storms developing across the Texas Panhandle once again. Along with the large hail, damaging straight line winds up to 70 miles an hour will be a concern. And there's even a chance for a few tornadoes. Areas in the brown shading have about a 5 chance of tornadoes within 25 miles of any point, and areas in the green shading have about a 2 chance. Just as we go through the day today, things will start off relatively quiet through the noon hour, maybe a few scattered showers out there, but nothing major. By the time we get to through 0 p.m., that's when we'll start seeing some of those first little storms beginning to pop. And so once they get going, they're going to explode quickly into large bust supercells. By 6:00 p.m., we'll be seeing some of these supercells fully mature across northeast New Mexico, and especially into the Texas Panhandle from Amarillo southward through Leech and Midland over to Wichita Falls. These will be the storms capable of producing the giant hail, some tornadoes, and damaging winds. Through the evening, mound storms will still be ongoing in the Panhandle. But by around 3:00 a.m., we'll start seeing a big line or bow echo of thunderstorms forming and pushing south and eastward into North Texas. That'll bring with it a potent wind threat and some heavy rain, as well as we move into early Saturday morning. The slow-moving nature of these storms is a real concern too, because where storms stall out or repeatedly move over the same areas, we could end up seeing some flash flooding. Places like eastern Texas, Panhandle into northwest Texas and southwest Oklahoma, places like Lawton, Fort Sill, Wichita Falls, and Leech could pick up locally 6 inches of rain within just a 12-hour period. That's a serious flooding concern tonight and into Saturday. Looking ahead into Saturday itself, we're still going to be dealing with the potential for more severe storms across parts of the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma. And by Sunday, the risk shifts farther north. There's a slight risk, level 2 out of 5, already highlighted across central Nebraska, with lower but still noteworthy risks stretching from the Canadian prairies all the way down into Mexico. Sunday could feature some isolated supercells popping up along a dry line setup, possibly from Kansas and southwest Missouri down into northern Arkansas during the morning. Then by the afternoon and evening, the dry line could fire off more storms from Montana, Wyoming, and the western Dakotas through Nebraska, Colorado, western Kansas, Oklahoma Panhandle, and into parts of West Texas. Any of these storms could again bring very large hail, damaging winds, and a few tornadoes. Everyone will see rain this weekend, though. As often happens with this kinds of setup, some areas are going to get drenched while others may not see a drop. Northern Plains areas like the Dakotas, which have been so dry lately, could really benefit if they get under one of these storms. Meanwhile, spots like northeastern Colorado could stay almost completely dry. Looking out west, we are also keeping an eye on a strong storm system moving into California and the West Coast. Rain will start moving in today, with snow expected in the higher elevations of the Sierra Nevada. That moisture will push into the Rockies by Saturday and Sunday, bringing rain and mountain snow to places like Nevada, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, and western Colorado. Some of the higher peaks could pick up multiple feet of snow between Saturday and Monday. Now, that western storm is the one we're watching closely for early next week. As it slides eastward, it will strengthen and move into the plains, bringing with it a very strong 995 millibar low pressure system by Monday. When you see a pressure reading under 1,000 millibars in late April, that's a strong system. And that's why the Storm Prediction Center already has that 3 out of 5 risk area highlighted for Monday. Cities in the crosshairs include Minneapolis, St. Paul, Green Bay, Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison, La Crosse, Des Moines, Omaha, Kansas City, Peoria, St. Louis, Tulsa, Wichita, Oklahoma City, and Wichita Falls. The setup will feature very rich moisture surging all the way into Minnesota and Wisconsin. Dew points well into the 50s and 60s, maybe even touching 70 def in Kansas City. Along with all that moisture, we'll have very high instability, Cape values between 3,000 and 5,000, and strong wind shear, meaning there will be plenty of fuel for supercells and organized lines of storms. Monday morning could start with some elevated storms along a warm front from eastern South Dakota into Minnesota and Wisconsin, mainly producing hail. After a lull around midday, the cold front and triple point will fire off explosive thunderstorms in southern Minnesota and Iowa during the mid-afternoon. Strong tornadoes will be possible, especially near the triple point. Later Monday evening, a damaging squall line will race eastward toward Madison, Milwaukee, the Quad Cities, and Chicago, bringing widespread damaging winds, large hail, and a few embedded tornadoes. On Tuesday, that same system moves east into the Great Lakes and northeastern U.S., dragging its cold front along with it. Severe storms are likely from New York State and Pennsylvania westward into Ohio, West Virginia, Kentucky, Indiana, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and North Texas. Big cities in the risk zone include Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Toledo, Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Louisville, St. Louis, Little Rock, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Dallas. There will be plenty of moisture again on Tuesday, with dew points in the 60s ahead of the front, and instability values around 2,000 to 3,000. The main risks on Tuesday will be damaging winds, hail, and some tornadoes, with storms developing by afternoon and continuing into the evening hours. Rainfall totals through the end of April could top 2 to 4 inches across the southern plains and into parts of Missouri, and more welcome rain is expected across the drought-stricken Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Unfortunately, Florida which really needs rain too, is likely to stay dry through the end of April, but signs are pointing to a wetter pattern setting up for early May. Speaking of drought, the latest drought monitor released yesterday shows continued extreme and exceptional drought across the desert Southwest. Meanwhile, parts of the upper Midwest are still dealing with moderate to extreme drought, so the rain coming over the next several days will be a big help. Looking ahead to May, early signs are pointing to drier and warmer weather building across the Midwest and Great Lakes, while Florida finally starts to pick up some above average rainfall. Meanwhile, parts of the Pacific Northwest could see temperatures well above normal, possibly even breaking some record highs through the first week of May. Finally, one other concern we're watching is the potential for significant river flooding, especially along the Mississippi River from Memphis down to New Orleans. With all the rainfall expected upstream, river levels could rise quickly and flooding could become a serious issue heading into early May. That's the full update for today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, comment below, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.